Hey there guys, what's up? It's your buddy mikeyperion here and I hope you have a great day because for today we are now at episode 13 of our iCraft season 5 and currently we're moving these cows near to our base because our item frames kept on disappearing and I'm already running out of those letters for making those item frames. Well, it's a currently known bug, from the previous updates actually, but 2 days ago they disappeared again, but also Luke actually updated the server into Minecraft 1.14.2 re-release 2 and hoping that some of those bugs will be fixed and it's for the better, right? Well, knowing Moyang for the recent updates, I don't want to comment about it, but anyway, 3 things that we want to do for this episode. So first thing is a little farming. Of course, we are going to cut down some of those trees, actually all of those trees for the meantime, because I want to see how the base looks like without those trees and mushroom. And of course, we also need to replenish our stock of woods because we have contributed a lot of woods during the last group recording session. But anyways, of course, I'm just curious on how it will look like, our base without those trees and mushrooms. But anyway, secondly, we are also going to decorate the main entrance of our base, the massive staircase in the south side of our base, if you guys can recall it. We are going to decorate it with some gears and some wheels and some chains, something steampunkish stuff, because that's our theme, right? And lastly, hopefully we are going to finish our Gardens of Perion project and we are going to finish the ceiling because it's long overdue now. Well, in terms of the resources, I think we have enough because I did some resource gathering earlier before I started recording this. But hopefully it will be enough in order for us to finish this project. But anyway, let's place a chest right over here in order to store this wheat. Let's place it over here, and also let's check out what we have accomplished so far in our base. This is done. So this is just basically temporary. Of course, we are going to have a former or a more permanent cow farm in the future episodes. But anyway, let's take a flight here. But actually, this is not the best view as of the moment because as well as we are also going to cover this, right? But anyway, let's get in here. So let's take a look inside, which is a better view of what we have accomplished so far. We already have done a lot for this base and this is like a really massive project, should I say. Bigger than ever, fancier than ever, and I think this is the fanciest base in the whole world, maybe. But anyway, so far here's how it looks like. So we are going to make this even fancier, but for now, we are going to cut down these trees like I said. I just want to see how massive our space in this base, of course, just for your curiosity. But anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So far, here's how much resources that we have gathered here. So basically, we got 2 stacks of these acacia logs and as well as 6 stacks of these dark oak logs. So it's not totally proportionate, but most of the time, I actually gathered these trees whenever I needed them. Especially, of course, it's not totally proportionate, but most of the time, for example, I need some more acacia. Probably I'll gonna gather some more acacia more frequently. So basically that's how it works. So on this part, of course, we are also going to gather these oak and as well as these birch trees. So we only got like a stack and 12 for this birch and a stack and 7 for the oaks. Because the structure of these trees are not that massive compared to those trees on this other side right over there. But basically, of course, those are the next thing that we have to cut down and we can almost see on how this will look like. And of course, we can gather more woods with these jungle trees and as well as the spruce. So for jungle log, we got like 10 stacks. This is actually 10 stacks. And for the spruce logs, we actually got almost 9 of these spruce logs. So basically, of course, this is what I actually use for making chests and those stuff. But of course, it's more common, right? So the next thing that we have to harvest are actually those mushrooms on the side right over there. And as well as those chorus plant and as well as the bamboo, just to see the overall look of this place without this stuff, right? And so far for these miscellaneous stuff, we have gathered this much, but of course, it's not really that important. But anyway, anyway, so well, now it's time to move on the next segment of our episode. So well, the next thing that we have to build is this area right over here. But first, well, I almost forgot that we have to look on this part, right? But anyway, so well, so far this is how it looks like without those trees and mushroom and those chorus plants and those bamboo. So well, this looks pretty massive, right? I mean, so far, this is only the first time I've seen this without the trees, because most of the time I just gather those trees whenever I needed them. So well, this looks pretty impressive, but of course we still need to finish this Gardens of Perion. Of course, we're going to start in this main entrance right over here. Well, of course, like I said, we are going to place some gears and those stuff, so just to make it look more steampunkish. But anyway, so well, let's get this started. So the plan here in the main entrance is, first we have to make it fancy looking by using these fancy materials just like this dark prismarine, and secondly we are going to have some sort of like steamy waters on these ends, and as well as some water flowing on both sides that will have two water wheels that will look like a power generator in this base. So I think, well, it's a cool idea, right? So in order to have that steamy effect for these waters, so first we are going to place these campfires underneath these holes. So basically, we are also going to cover this with some glasses later on, so at least we can also provide something like a light source in this place, although we got some tons of sea lanterns on this part, but I guess it's fine, right? And so now we're building these water wheels on both sides. So basically, we got two water wheels, so the smaller one is on the other side and this one is the bigger one. So basically, well, we have made this spoke somehow angled just to make it to look more dynamic. I think it has that effect that it's in motion, something like that, instead of like building it straight, something like a straight cross or something like an X. So probably this will make it more look dynamic. So let's place some glowstone on this midsection right over here just to have some sort of like lighting and just to make it look fancier, right? So we're trying to balance between fancy things and as well as mechanical. Something like that, of course. Well, so now we're done with these two wheels. So basically we have the smaller wheel right over here and as well as the bigger wheel on this side. So well, I think it looks pretty fancy and as well as dynamic. I think it looks somehow in motion, right? Well, so far it looks pretty cool. I think so. Of course, we also need to add some axle on the midsection of these wheels just to make it look more stable and firm. So well, that's the next thing that we have to do, and let's do it. And so we have added some set of gears on this side just to add some more decor in this place, and as well as we already have done this axle to make this water wheels look more stable. However, well, I'm not satisfied with these gears though. Well, it doesn't really look like gears. I think I still need to make some adjustment, and on this angle right over here, well, yeah, it's not that evident though. I think I still have to adjust some stuff right over there. Maybe we could add some more gears on the top section right over here, and as well as I'm thinking of like that spinning thingy in those science fiction, films. I think we just need to add more details for this decoration, and as well as on this section right over here, we are going to have something like a chain that will connect two gears on the top. And of course, well, I think those are the last couple of decors that we have to do here before we add some waters on this section. Of course, once we already have add some waters, we are going to have some troubles working here, right? But anyway, so well, let me continue working on these decors and I'll be back. And so now we're trying to make these giant chains that actually connects these two wheels. Well, it's not actually gear, but these looks like wheels, right? But anyway, so what we're trying to do here is something like same mechanical device as what we have in the bicycles. Something like that, right? I mean, I think this exists in mechanical world. But anyway, so I also have done some adjustment on that section right over there. Those set of gears on the other side. So now I think it looks better. And I also have added that spinny thingy on that side right over there. Which I don't know what it's called though. But anyway, so well, we're almost done with this decor in this section of our main entrance. But I also forgot that we also need to cover the front part. Well, those are the last things that we have to do for this segment of this building session. But anyways, I'll be back. And yet, this looks pretty impressive, right? I mean, so far, somehow we have stick in our theme, so this looks pretty steampunkish, I think so, right? I mean, so far, I'm very happy of what we have done here. I think it's a success, right? But anyway, so now it's time to move on. So basically, the next thing that we have to do is to cover up this section right over here, up to this section. So basically, what we're planning here is to something like, to build like a canal, something like a hole where the water will come out that will flow down over there. So basically it's only up to here. Well, yes, so I think so on this section right over here we're just gonna leave this be. So for the meantime we're just gonna work up to here, so the water will come out here going down there. So basically that's the plan, and well, let's do it. And so we already have covered this section right over here. So basically the only visible part is on this side right over here, because we are going to have a different thing going on the other side. But anyway, so well, somehow, well, at least we have stick in our Gothic architectural style on this section. Well, I'm not totally satisfied with it though, because it's somehow pretty random. But at least it's symmetrical, right? But looking from afar from this angle, well, I think it looks better, right? I mean, it really adds to the design when you look at overall. But on the near, I mean, when you look at on the near side, it doesn't pretty much. Whatever. But anyway, so I think we're done here. So at least, well, we don't have to emphasize this section. But anyway, so, well, the next thing that we have to do is to place the waters. Of course, well, it will flow down up to that catch basin on that down part right over there. So, well, that's the next thing to do. And anyway, so, well, let's finish this main entrance, right? And well, I think we have done it. Well, I think it looks pretty steampunkish now, right? I mean, somehow, well, I'm pretty impressed of what we have done here. Well, this is what I actually expected with this build, and so far, well, it looks really cool. Somehow. I think so, right? Well, let's try to look on this angle. So let's pretend that we're entering this base. Well, yeah. I mean, these pillars are actually covering this part right over here. But somehow, at least when you look on the side, this looks pretty impressive, right? So, well, I think we're done here. We're done in this main entrance. So now it's time to move on our next thing that we have to build is, of course, the ceiling of this base. And it's still a massive thing to build, to do for this episode. But anyway, so well, let's get it on. And so I already have placed a circular marking on our roof, because our plan here is that we are going to make like a sun. So this sun is going to have like 8 rays. So basically on these directions, going south and on this side as well. And as well as we are going to place some marking of north, east, south, and west. So basically this is going to be like a giant compass in our ceiling. So let's try to go there to see that marking. So basically, as you can see, we got some dirt blocks on the roof over there. So basically that is only like temporary blocks or temporary markings, so at least we can know where to put our blocks on, or how we are going to decorate this. So basically we are going to use the sandstone in the midsection, and as well as some diorites, in order to have some sort of like a nice decoration. I know the color is too bright, but it's the sun, right? I mean, we have to make like a figure or an art of a sun, and as well as a compass. So well, I'm really excited to do this. And anyway, so well, we're starting now, right? Well, aside from the 8 rays that we're going to have outside this circle, we're going to have these rays as well. It's not that visible, but at least it's not one-toned, I mean, in this area. So at least we're trying to have some sort of like gradient or two-toned in this section right over here. So at least it will not look that bare, right? I mean, it just adds to the, not complexity, but in terms of like artistry, it looks more even better, I think. Well, it's not that prominent, but I think it's still visible, right? Well, at least it looks pretty nice, I think. So now it's time to work on the rays, the 8 rays on the outer part of this circle. So basically, it will signify as if it's like the sun with all of the 4 directions, or should I say 8 directions, but we're only going to label 4 of these directions, which is on this part, we are going to have the south. So because we are facing south, so well, I think let's do it. So basically, we are going to have 2 patterns. So on this side, of course, you are going to have the labels of north, south, east, west, and on this corner right over here will just be some rays. So basically, we just need to copy this in all of the sides appropriately. Of course, on this side, we are going to have, like I said, this is north should be. So maybe we should do that first before we proceed on other side. So at least we can make sure that this design really works, right? But anyway, so well, let me try on this part and well, I'll be back. Well, after a couple of attempts, I think I'm good with this now because somehow it looks pretty nice. I think so. Well, of course, I think we're done there. So the next thing that we have to do is, of course, to cover this with dark prismarines, all of those open parts, and as well as on these outlines or these parts with some of those redstone walls, we are going to cover them with some stone bricks and as well as some seal lanterns for some lighting. And so at least this section is done. So we already have covered this fully without those holes in our ceiling. So at least the water will not drip inside our base, right? So let's take a look from down here. So at least, well, we can see on how this will turn out. So far, here's how it looks like, at least for this side. So basically, of course, you just need to copy this in all of the sides. And I think, well, that's a weird sound though. But anyway, so well, so far, I think I'm good with this. So, well, I think we can already start working on these patterns on the other side. So well, looking on this angle, so I think it will look pretty cool, except that, well, I'm just afraid that we are going to have some lighting glitch in this part of this base, but probably, of course, we still have that glitch, right? But anyway, so well, I'm just going to copy this in the other side. So probably I'm gonna do this somehow section by section, something like that. But anyway, so well, we still have a lot of work to do. But anyway, so well, let's just keep on working anyways. Well, instead of working it section by section, I did it by, for example, this race. I started working on the race because we have the same materials that we're using here. And then probably we are going to start working on the lettering since we also got the same materials on that. And then lastly, of course, we are going to cover this. So I think it's the best method in order for us to do this efficiently. So, well, I think it's for the best. And practically, we're almost done with this race. And there you go. So basically, of course, we had this in all of the sides or in the corners as well. Of course, we got like the 8 race, right? But anyway, so the next thing that we have to do is, of course, the letterings for the north, south, east, west using some prismarine wall. So let's grab our prismarine wall right over here. And probably we are also going to need some, what do you call that? The black terracotta. Where did I put that though? Oh, it's here. Sorry. But anyway, so well, let's try to make it first right over here. I'm probably gonna show you guys on how I make this. But first, we are going to make a full circle where we are going to place the lettering. So first, let's place this prismarine wall. But anyway, so well, after this, I'm going to show you the letterings. And so we have some sort of like a pie here, which is color green though. But anyway, so well, let's start doing the lettering. So basically, we are going to make a letter E, an English or a cursive letter E on this part, but instead of looking from above here, of course, you have to consider that it's gonna be flipped since we're gonna look it from the ground instead from the top. So well, this is going to be like number 3. So this is the upper part of the letter or the number. Well, sounds confusing, right? But of course, like I said, this has to be flipped. So since we're gonna look this from the ground, it will be flipped. It will be letter E once we have looked it from there. So practically looking from the top right over here, it's going to be number 3. So somehow it should go like this since we have some sort of like a cursive lettering for these letters just to make it look fancy. So I think this looks like number 3, right? Let's make some sort of like adjustments. But anyway, so well, let's try over here and another one over here just to make it look bolder. I think, well, I hope this will turn out good. But I think I'm still gonna make some adjustment. But let's look at first. At least we can make sure what are the adjustments that we have to do. And there you go. So let's look from here. But somehow it already looks good. But I think we still need to make some adjustment in those part right over there because it's too bold or it's too thick. So probably, well, But anyway, so well, I'm just gonna do it. So at least I already have showed you guys on how I do these letterings. But anyway, so well, I'm just gonna continue working on this and I'll be back. And well, we already have done all of the letters in the four directions. So practically we already got this S lettering for south and as well as E for east, and as well as we got W on the other side, and of course we already got the north on this side. So I think we're done here. So the next thing that we have to do is of course to cover up, and let's check it out if we still got some supplies of this dark prismarine, and I hope this will be enough because we're gonna use a lot of this, right? But anyway, so well, the next thing that we have to do is of course to cover up this entire place, and well, still a lot of block placing for this build, but I hope we're gonna finish this for this episode. I know I already have recorded a lot, but well, we still have some more here and the lag though. But anyway, so well, we still got some half slabs here, so I think this is enough, hopefully, right? Well, luckily, I think we have enough supply of this dark prismarine, at least for this section, but we're still gonna need it for the center part, which is the dome of the ceiling, and well, I ran out of these dark prismarine half slabs. Well, we still got some supplies right over there, but don't worry, of course. Well, I think we still got enough for that part, but I'm not sure if we'll still gonna have enough for the dome in the midsection. But anyway, so let's take a look of what we have accomplished so far. Well, we still have to cover that section with those walls, but so far I think this looks good. Yeah, the S looks fine, but on certain angles, yeah, this looks kind of odd though. But yeah, I think I'm totally fine with it. So the next thing that we have to do is of course to cover up those sections with those sandstone wall. But anyway, so well, let's do it. And well, we already have done covering this ceiling except for this midsection right over here, which we are going to have a dome shape. And that's good though. But anyway, so well, sorry guys if I'm going to remove some of the scenes for this episode because I think I've recorded long enough for this episode and we still have some more scenes to do. But anyways, and these trees are getting dark though after we have covered our ceiling, but I think it's fine. Well, it's kind of similar to what we have in Taskcraft. So far, well, I'm pretty impressed of what we have accomplished so far, especially that this looks pretty fancy, right? I mean, I like what we have done in all of the corners of this room. But anyway, so well, we still have one thing to do, of course, this section right over here. But first, we still need to cover this guardian farm with this similar dome, purple dome on the top of this guardian farm. But anyway, so well, let's do it. And so we're now working on the dome. So basically, first we're placing these half slabs, and on top of this, that's where we are going to start the shape of the dome. So practically, we're using this blue terracotta, but it looks like purple, right? But anyway, so well, it's kind of similar to what we have in the bottom, but of course, it's flipped vertically, so at least we got some symmetry. And so we have done covering these, almost done actually, with covering this giant aquarium for our guardian farm. So basically, this part right over here, we are going to connect this with some giant chains to our clock tower that we are going to build in the future. Of course, well, the next thing that we have to do is to build the dome on top of this. Well, practically it's not gonna be a steep dome, it's just gonna be a shallow dome. So I think it's for the best because we're almost running out of material, especially with our dark prismarine. So far, well, let's check out over here. Well, it's not actually that visible though, but anyway, so well, I think we just need to move on with our dome on the top part of this. But anyway, so well, we're practically gonna use the same materials as what we have here, so let's check it out. So we still got 3 stacks of this prismarine, so hopefully this will gonna be enough, right? So I think in order for us to spare for some more resource gathering, especially for the dark prismarine, we are just going to use these materials. So at least we can have alternatives, so at least we're not gonna use more of those dark prismarines. So at least we even got some more consistent design in our base. So I think for this one, we're still gonna have some 8 rays sun, but in a dome shape, and actually the rays is not on the north, south, east, west direction. So instead, it's gonna be somehow a little angled. just like this one. So instead of having it straight, somehow it's angled. So well, basically that's the plan for this dome. And anyway, so well, let's just continue working. And so far, here's what we have here. So basically, we actually use the same materials for the sun, but I think we have to put something more luxurious materials for this build since we're planning to have the fanciest base. I kept on forgetting that actually, but well, we're trying to keep up that that flight though. But anyway, so I'm trying to keep up that luxuriousness or the fanciness of our base. So I'm thinking that probably we could use some of these golds in our build. So well, basically we are going to try to use some gold blocks in the, at least for the mid section, so at least we can have some fancy things in our base, especially that well, this gold is not as expensive as diamond, right? But I think, well, soon enough, probably we could have some diamonds in our base. So, well, let's grab some of this, and we have to be really careful because this is really expensive. So I think we're gonna use 32 of this. So basically, we just need 24. We just need to craft these 24. So now we got 32. So I think this will fit in the mid section of our base. So, well, let me try doing this. Well, I think this gold blocks is perfect with some glowstones, right? So let's grab some glowstones. So, well, actually, the last couple of things that we have to to do in this dome is first, we are going to make an outline using these glowstones, and as well as, of course, to cover the sides with some dark prismarines and cover the holes on these walls with some stone bricks, which is actually similar to what we have done in all of our ceilings. So, well, let me try to finish this, and probably, of course, I need to finish this episode. But anyway, so, well, last couple of things, and let's get this done. And lastly, we're just placing these last couple of blocks, and yeah, well, last couple of blocks, and we're actually done with this dome, and also done with this ceiling, and as well as done with this project, except for, well, I'm very happy that, well, we have the exact amount of these dark prismarine in our stock, because we still need to cover this up. So these last two blocks has to be in here, which is pretty satisfying, right? I mean, exact amount of resources for your build is totally satisfying. For me, at least. So, well, like I said, we're done with this project. So after this, of course, we are going to move on our next project. But of course, well, we have to look back on what we have accomplished in this base, especially for this episode. Well, of course, we have done some fancy things, especially that we have used some gold blocks in that part right over there, which is, well, especially in the scale of this project, this looks pretty fancy, right? And especially with these intricate designs in the ceiling, and as well as, of course, in this main entrance of our base. Well, of course, this is somehow mechanical, but it still looks fancy, right? I mean, I'm totally happy of what we have accomplished for this base, and I think this is the fanciest base ever, at least for me, on what I have accomplished so far in my entire life for Minecraft. But I'm totally happy of what we have done here, especially that, well, this is a no joke project, and this is totally massive, and it's actually epic, should I say. But of course, well, we have to end on this part because this video is taking so long now. But of course, like I said, well, this is not the end of the season. Of course, well, we still have more projects to do in the future, but so far, well, this is actually something, right? I mean, this is a no joke project. Like I said, I'm totally happy of what we have accomplished so far for this season of iCraft. But anyway, so, well, that's it for this episode. So, well, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment, please leave a like, and make sure to subscribe. This has been mikeyperion, and I'll see you guys next time.